Post created by user Color Blindness. 22 days ago. My daughter has a secret admirer and the notes he sent her reveal a shocking secret. I knew I was going to have trouble the moment my daughter Katie decided to go to Hot Topic and buy black nail polish. It was a slap in the face, a wake-up call, telling me that my daughter was not a little girl anymore. I knew she was having issues before this, but now it felt like her whole personality had changed. She got a cell phone and just stopped coming to me or my husband for any advice. Suddenly she knew everything. Suddenly we weren't even really a part of her life anymore. It worried me with all of the emotional roller coasters we had gone through for her in the past 6 months. I didn't want to lose her. I really wasn't trying to overreact and be a hard ass. I gave her space and just enforced what I would consider very soft rules. 10 p.m. curfew and no phone after 11. Stuff like that. And my husband tried to do a few more things, like ask her who she was talking to and how things were going, but every time Katie made it seem like we were invading her privacy. She is 16 now. We knew this day would come, I told myself as she started to hang out more with friends than with family. I told myself as long as everything remained normal, I had no reason to worry. Well, I didn't until I was cleaning her room the other day while she was at a friend's house and I happened upon a box I had never seen before. It was pushed way under bed where the only way I knew to get to it easily would be to crawl and drag it out. I noticed it because I moved her bed to vacuum. It was just an average shoebox, but it felt a little heavy, so I lifted it onto the bed and opened it up to see. Inside I saw at least a couple dozen handwritten letters my daughter kept. My first reaction was to close the box and pretend I hadn't found it. Katie was always accusing me of snooping in her room, and this would be Exhibit A if she ever found out. Curiosity got the better of me though. I figured I could just see what she had written and then put it back and pretend I didn't know about it. As long as everything was good, I had no reason to worry. I picked up the first letter and started to read. My dear one, I've been thinking about you lately and how much I wish I could spend time with you. It feels like we never have time to see each other anymore, but you need not worry, I am always watching you. Even when you sleep. If you ever feel that I am not close by, go to your window and look toward the dark. That is where I will always reside. And someday, you will too. Okay. It sounded like her secret admirer was an angsty goth. Now it was making sense why she had such a sudden fashion shift. This guy was influencing her. For some reason that bothered me. I know that as a parent we need to try and help our kids and not insist they conform to our lifestyle, but something about the way this letter was written really bothered me. I picked up the next one. My dear one, last night was amazing. I haven't felt like this in ages. You remind me of what it was like to be young and alive again. Everything about you is desirable. You are an angel and I feel so special to be the temptation that is drawing you down to earth. I am counting the moments until we can be together again. It will be hell until we are back in each other's arms. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. This guy was waxing poetic like his life depended on it. And from the way he was talking, I realized that this guy was considerably older than her. His handwriting was precise and careful and crafted. My mind immediately jumped to the conclusion that it had to be one of her teachers, and that made my stomach twist into knots. One of these sick freaks was having a relationship with my daughter? And from the context of the letter I just read, I realized it was more than just a friendly flirtation. They had met. And possibly some more than just kissing and petting. I put the letter back in the box, trying to not freak out as I placed it back under the bed and texted my husband. As soon as he got home, we had to talk about Katie. Garrett did his best to calm me down after I told him, insisting it had to be some kind of mistake. That ticked me off, so I marched into her room again and pulled out the box, telling him to read some of the letters himself. He did, and I sat by patiently as his expression went from mild concern to the color leaving his face. Beth, have you read these? All of them? He asked, his voice cracking. I smiled, triumphant, but instead of simply saying I was right, he read the letter out loud. My dear one, I think it's time that we are honest with each other about our feelings. This is love, pure and simple. We belong together and we will be together. No matter what. Even if it costs us eternity. Being in each other's arms is all that matters. My body aches for yours, and that is why I grow impatient. I need you to make a choice. I cannot continue to watch from afar. I want to be a part of your body. A part of your soul. But that won't be possible as long as you are pure. Show me how much I mean to you, Kate. Show me that you want us to spend forever together. I grabbed the letter from his hand and reread it, confused by the language. Disturbed by what this stranger was asking our daughter to do. That one seems pretty fresh. Like within the last few days, Garrett told me as he frowned and asked, "Where did Kate say she was going for a sleepover?" I bit my bottom lip. "She said she was going over to watch Bridgerton with Olive," I said. "And you checked with Olive's parents, right?" I looked like an idiot. And then I looked like a frantic idiot. "You don't think she lied to us, do you?" I asked. He gave me a horrified look. Immediately I whipped my phone out and texted her, panic setting in. "What are you doing? You could tip her off that we know something is wrong." He chided me. "She might be getting right now." "Oh my God, what do we do?" I asked as I showed him that the message did not go through. She had shut her phone off. "We should call the cops," I blurted out. He shook his head and said, "We don't even know if she is at Olive's, and if she isn't, how will they find her?" I was hyperventilating now, pacing as I thought of the worst-case scenario. This secret admirer could get her pregnant. Or kill her. "Garrett, we have to do something," I shouted as my husband sat there silently. "I'm thinking," he muttered as he reached for the box of love letters and started to sort through them. "The answer might be in here, look for anything that could tell us more," he said, passing me about half the stack of notes. My hands kept trembling as I read the next note. "My dear one, do you remember how we met? You were at your lowest point. A knife in your hands and your life ebbing away. Blood was dripping on the floor and you were dying. Falling into the abyss. And there, I waited for you. Alone and desperate. We both were." I paused as I read it, recalling the incident. Katie's suicide attempt was only about 4 months ago. We had gone to a movie, unaware of the problems she had. We thought that she was finally happy, and didn't realize how severe things had gotten. I told myself when we found on the bathroom floor that night, barely clinging to life, it was a miracle we had decided to leave the movie early. She had changed after that, I realized. But how? How did this secret admirer even know about that? What did they mean they were here when it happened? This letter, more than the rest, disturbed me the most. "I told you that if you lived for me, I would sustain your life. And you kept your word. And I have seen how much your love has grown. But it will never be enough until you give me your soul. Never enough until we can be at each other's side in hell. Beth." "Read this one," Garrett said, looking like he was about to faint. I took it and felt dizzy as I read what should be impossible. "In only a week our worlds will be near one another. The mortal and the veil. We can see each other. I know you are scared. But I need blood to show our love is pure. Bring it to me. Drag yourself down to me, my dear one." What the fuck is this? A sick joke? Does this admirer think he has supernatural powers? I shouted out loud, deciding that I was going to go start driving around the entire city to find her. "I think it tells us where they are. Remember how much Katie showed interest in that constellation observatory last week? That was around the time this letter was sent. She is at the park," Garrett said as he grabbed the keys. I said a prayer that we weren't too late. "What do you think these letters mean when he is talking about hell?" I whispered. "This dude is somehow involved in the occult. I have nothing against goths, but this guy has taken satanic panic to a whole new level," Garrett said as we approached the park. I hoped he was wrong, but my heart dropped into my stomach when I saw what looked like torches pitched on the outskirts of the observatory. And I heard chanting. We both got out of the car and started to run toward the cloaked figure as the noises got louder. And I saw Katie was in the center of what looked like a pentagram that had been carved into the ground. She was standing there, preparing to slice her wrists as the music filled the air and we ran up. "Mom. Dad," she said, shaken out of her reverie by our presence. "Put the knife down, Kate," Garrett demanded. The man in the cloak slowly got in front of our daughter, preventing us from getting close. I couldn't make out his face, but something about his presence terrified me. "She won't be doing that. The ritual is almost finished," he said. His voice was thick and old. Something about his expressions unnerved me. It was not quite human. Not quite there. "Kate, the police are on their way. Whatever this man has told you about love is just a lie," I told her. That was actually not the truth either. We had elected to not call the cops, thinking our daughter would simply walk away from the madness. "You read the letters?" Katie asked in surprise. "Most of them. Enough of them to know you are making the biggest mistake of your life," her father insisted. Katie looked more defiant than ever before. She pressed the knife down. "I thought maybe if you read them, you would understand. But I guess I should have known better," she said. Garrett tried to push past the man, only to find that despite his age the cloaked stranger was able to push my husband across the field with a single hand. "You don't know what you are dealing with, do you?" he asked. His words echoed like lightning. And as Garrett tried again, his cloak fell backward and I gasped in shock. His eyes were filled with fire and his skin was cracked and as brittle as parchment. Atop his head I saw a bare scalp that revealed his bony misshapen skull, and on either side, 2 jagged ancient bones stuck up and out, forming horns. "You're," I said, hardly able to make words form in my throat. His smile chilled me. And then I saw my daughter finish the cut, letting more blood spill on the ground. "Please. Please don't do this," my husband begged. The devil placed his needle-like fingers and intertwined them with Katie's as the sky seemed to grow darker. "She is already with me," he whispered as he began to fade from the shadows. As he disappeared I rushed to my daughter's side and held her, trying to check for a heartbeat. Garrett called the cops. It was too late though, I couldn't feel anything. She was gone. I can't explain how numb we felt. We showed the letters to the police but all they could assume was the admirer was an occultist. They didn't really want another explanation. I haven't stopped crying, asking myself why I didn't see the signs. And I've told myself that it isn't my fault. But I'm not sure. I just want her back. So badly. Garrett has become withdrawn. Hardly speaking to each other. This might be the end of our marriage if we can't heal. And I'm really not sure we will be able to. Because today I found a new letter. It had somehow appeared in the box seemingly out of thin air. My hands have felt clammy ever since I began to read it. "My dear parents, if you ever want to see me again, follow these instructions. As harsh as it sounds, lay your daughter to rest or you'll end up being sacrificed as well." See, this is what happens when parents let their kid shop at Hot Topic. I mean, silver lining that hopefully the devil can teach her some fashion sense. Fascinating how parents always seem to find the most private things belonging to their kids, clearly hidden as not to be invaded, while cleaning. Interesting. You really don't want to mess with this, though. Be cautious, blessed be. Who writes actual letters anymore? Thank you for watching. Leave a like and comment for more videos like this.